Hello, my name is Avery Taylor, and today I'll be ranking the top 40 third basemen in all of baseball. If you enjoy this sort of content, please be sure to hit subscribe, and let's go ahead and get right into the video. At number 40, I have Jordan Diaz of the Oakland Athletics. There isn't really a lot of great things to say here. He was a terrible defender with a negative 11 DRS. Also didn't do much at the plate with the 637 OPS. Did have a little bit of pop with 10 home runs, 27 RBIs. Finished the year with a negative 1.1 WAR. Just overall wasn't that great for an Oakland Athletics team that wasn't that great in general. At number 39, I have a player who bounced around between a few teams and is now currently a free agent. That player being Eduardo Escobar. He finished the year with 6 home runs, 31 RBIs, and a 613 OPS. Not exactly the standard that we expect from Escobar, and was a negative defender with a negative 3 DRS, finishing the year with negative 1.1 WAR. At number 38, I have the second Oakland A on the list, and once again, not the greatest season. Finished the year with 6 homers, 37 RBIs, a 611 OPS, all while being a negative defender as well with negative 2 DRS, finishing the year with a negative 0.3 WAR. Again, not the greatest year, and it's hard to tell who the Oakland Athletics are going to go with at third base, and it really doesn't matter because they're probably not going to get the greatest production anyway. At number 37, I have a player who was once a highly touted prospect, but has shown no signs of life in his limited time in the MLB, and that is Brett Baty of the New York Mets. He finished the year with 9 home runs, 34 RBIs, a 598 OPS, all while being a negative defender with negative 5 DRS, as well as 0.8 negative WAR. At number 36, I had the presumed third baseman for the Toronto Blue Jays next season, and that is Santiago Espinal, who finished the year with 2 home runs, 25 RBIs, a 644 OPS, all while having a negative 1 DRS and a 0.5 WAR. Espinal is normally more of a flexible utility type guy, but now he's being thrust in the third base role, assuming the Blue Jays don't sign anybody, due to Matt Chapman most likely leaving in free agency. At number 35, I have a player in a very similar vein, is more of a utility guy, but just ended up playing the most at third base last season, and that is Zach McKinstry of the Detroit Tigers. He finished the year with 9 home runs, 35 RBIs, looked pretty solid through the first half of the year, but kind of fell off, and had a 654 OPS, all while being a league average defender with a 0 DRS and a 1 WAR. At number 34, I have an incredibly difficult player to rank, and that is Anthony Rendon of the Los Angeles Angels. We all know what this player was once, but we also don't know much about the player the last about 2 or 3, maybe even 4 seasons. He just kind of fell off the map the second he went to Los Angeles because he just hasn't played. Last season, hit 2 home runs, 22 RBIs, a 678 OPS, lost some of that defensive pedigree with a negative 5 DRS and a 0.1 WAR. Again, I think it's just a lot of not playing and maybe not wanting to play, but it's really hard for me to rank this player. At number 33, I have Mike Moustakas, whose fall from grace is much more well documented. He finished the year with 12 home runs, 48 RBIs, and a 685 OPS, all while being a negative 1 type DRS type defender and being a negative 0.1 WAR as well. So again, his fall from grace, he's been playing, but it's just a steady decline as he gets older. At number 32, we have Michael Garcia, the third baseman for the Kansas City Royals. He finished the year with a 1.1 WAR and a negative 2 DRS, all while hitting 4 home runs, 50 RBIs, and a 681 OPS. Not much to say about this player. He does some things well, but not very many, and he's not necessarily elite in any one category. So it's a good spot for him down here in number 32. At number 31, I have another player that kind of seems to be past his prime, and that is Brian Anderson, who is currently a free agent formerly of the Milwaukee Brewers. He finished the season with 9 home runs, 40 RBIs, a 678 OPS, all while being a plus defender with a 3 DRS and a 0.5 WAR. It seems that his Miami Marlin days are well past him, and he hasn't put up a great season like that in some time. So hopefully he can bounce back with whatever team he signs. At number 30 is a player that really just never found that breakout season, and that is Nick Senzel, formerly of the Cincinnati Reds. He finished the year with a 0 WAR, negative 2 DRS, all while hitting 13 home runs, 42 RBIs, and a 696 OPS. He has been just kind of that sort of same player, just kind of hanging around the MLB, but doesn't do anything necessarily spectacular. And that's just sort of what we've gotten with Nick Senzel in his time in the majors, unfortunately. At number 29, we have a player whose days seem numbered, and that is Ramon Urias, who is just basically waiting for Jackson Holliday to make his debut for Baltimore, so Gunnar Henderson can slide over and take his spot. He finished the year with a 1.8 WAR, 0 DRS, but also had 4 home runs, 42 RBIs, and a 703 OPS. Another player that's just kind of fine, but doesn't do anything absolutely fantastic. And he's kind of just a league average to below league average guy that's kind of filling a place until the Baltimore Orioles can get one of their guys up. At number 28, we have a player who found more playing time just through injury on the team, and that is Edmundo Sosa of the Philadelphia Phillies. He finished the year with a 0.7 more, -1 DRS, but also hit 10 home runs, 30 RBIs, and a 719 OPS. He's found a little bit more offensive consistency than many of the other players on this list, but I had to knock him a little bit just because he hasn't found great playing time, and he just doesn't stand out that much whenever he does play, and he's more of kind of that pseudo-utility guy that hits well. At number 27, we have a player that has no problems on the defensive side, but is more offensive challenged, and that is Nick Madrigal of the Chicago Cubs. Madrigal, as we said, 8 DRS, fantastic defensively. You can't ask for much more, especially from a player that necessarily doesn't play every single day, all the time. And finished with a 1.2 WAR, 2 home runs, 28 RBIs, and a 663 OPS. I just need to see more from the offensive side for me to really put him that much higher, because if he could, then yeah, he'd shoot up this list like no other, but for right now, he sits at number 27. At number 26, I have a very similar player who offers a little bit more on the offensive side, and that is Andrew Monasterio of the Milwaukee Brewers. Finished the year with a 1.3 WAR, a 6 DRS, but had 3 home runs, 27 RBIs, and a 678 OPS. Again, just offers a tiny bit more, so that's why I had him slightly ranked higher at number 26. At number 25, I have Gio Urshela, another third baseman from the Los Angeles Angels. Urshela is a tough player to rank just because he didn't necessarily put together a full season, and he hasn't in a couple of years, and it'd just be nice to see him have a nice bounce back year. But he had a 0.8 WAR, 6 DRS, 2 homers, 24 RBIs, and a 703 OPS. Again, a fine player. It'd be nice to see him get a full season in. At number 24, I have one of the older players on the list, and that is Evan Longoria, formerly of the Arizona Diamondbacks, now currently a free agent. Longoria finished the year with a 0.5 WAR, was still a plus defender at 2 DRS, had 11 home runs and 28 RBIs, and a 717 OPS. His offense really did fade over the second half of the year, and he kind of looked a bit older, but it's okay. He's still a legend, and he's still just a good, solid option, and that'll keep him around in the league for at least another season or two. So good for him coming in here at the number 24 spot. At number 23, I have DJ LeMahieu of the New York Yankees. He finished the year with a 1.3 WAR, 15 homers, 44 RBIs, and a 718 OPS, all while being a plus defender at third base with a 3 DRS. All in all, just a solid player. Nothing necessarily spectacular jumps out at you anymore like it used to, but still just a solid player here at number 23. At number 22, we have a very tough player to rank, and that is Yoan Moncada of the Chicago White Sox. He finished the year with 11 homers, 40 RBIs, and a 730 OPS, all while being very bad in the field with a -6 DRS and a 0.7 more. We all know what this guy's capable of, but it's just a matter of him actually putting the play out onto the field for it to materialize and for him to be way higher on this ranking, because we all know what he could be. At number 21, we have another player that's just terrible in the field but puts up decent offensive production, and that is JD Davis of the San Francisco Giants. Davis, again, terrible in the field, -11 DRS, doesn't necessarily get the greatest production in the field. On the plate side, he hits 18 home runs, 69 RBIs, a 738 OPS, and a 0.9 more. Fine numbers, not spectacular, and that's sort of the player you get here at number 21. At number 20, I have Alec Bohm of the Philadelphia Phillies. He finished here with 20 homers, 97 RBIs, which is largely a result of the system he's in, all while having a 765 OPS. But defensively, even though he was up for the Gold Glove, he is terrible. -10 DRS. I know the highlights don't look like it, but the -10 DRS speaks volumes. Not great in the field at all. Finished with a 0.4 WAR. Just he's a good hitter, not great defensively, and that's kind of what you get here at number 20. At number 19, it might be a little Pittsburgh Pirates bias coming in, but it is Jared Triolo. He finished the year on fire at the plate with a 785 OPS, finished with 3 homers, 20 RBIs. You have to remember he was a backup for much of the year behind Kieron Hayes, and he is a great defender. He did come up through the system as a great projected defender. The bat kind of worries me, but he did finish the year well and had a 2.1 more in limited time. Obviously, I did want to be careful with him. He didn't play necessarily a whole lot, so I put him here at number 19 under some of the more established guys in the league, but he's absolutely phenomenal defensively, and if he can continue to hit well, he has a chance to shoot up this list, maybe at a different position just because Hayes kind of has third base locked down. At number 18, I have Patrick Wisdom of the Chicago Cubs, another player who puts up above average offensive numbers, but isn't necessarily the greatest in the field. Finished with 23 bombs, 46 RBIs, and a 789 OPS, all while having a -5 DRS, accumulating 0.3 WAR. Again, this is just fine offensive production, just does a little bit better than the previous guys on the list, and isn't the greatest defender, but didn't have the time in the field to necessarily show how bad he was. But again, just above average hitter, below average fielder, just did a little bit better on the offensive side. At number 17 is an ultra aggressive rating for a guy that really hasn't played all too much, and that is Noli Marte of the Cincinnati Reds. Finished with 3 homers, 15 RBIs, but he absolutely mashed with an 822 OPS. Was pretty league average defensively with a -1 DRS and 0.8 WAR. But again, he absolutely mashes. Just want to see it for a little bit longer before I can really put him up that much higher. At number 16 is a guy that got really unlucky last year. Just happened to play in a big ballpark like Seattle. And that is Ino Suarez, now of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yoan Suarez was, again, fantastic whenever you look at the peripheral data. Absolutely mashes baseballs. Hit 22 homers, 96 RBIs, and a 714 OPS, which isn't the greatest consistency. But again, he was getting a bit unlucky in Seattle. With a -2 DRS, he finished the year with a 2.3 WAR. Fine season by all standards, but I think there's a little bit more to get out of him, and moving to Arizona should help a little. At number 15, I have Ryan McMahon of the Colorado Rockies, who is an absolutely fantastic defender. We all know that 17 DRS speaks for itself, as well as 23 bombs, 70 RBIs, and a 753 OPS. We have to remember he does play in Colorado, so those offensive numbers probably are inflated a bit, but finished the year with a 2.9 WAR. At number 14, I have pretty much the polar opposite player, and that is Jeimer Candelario. Finished with very near identical counting stats. Finished with 22 bombs, 70 RBIs, and 807 OPS, so much better consistency. Did fall off a bit once he went to Chicago in the second half of the season, but finished with a -5 DRS, so not the greatest defender out there, and a 2.9 WAR. Hopefully, being in Cincinnati this upcoming season will improve those offensive numbers back to where they were. At number 13, we have another player who was a rookie last season, and that is Josh Jung of the Texas Rangers. We all know how phenomenal he was. That injury did slow him down a little bit, but altogether, put together a fantastic rookie campaign that did get overshadowed a little bit by Gunnar Henderson in Baltimore. Josh Jung, on his rookie year, hit 23 bombs, 70 RBIs, a 781 OPS, all while being a league average defender. Just my thought process, very similar to Jeimer Candelario in terms of production, but was just a league average defender. And he's a rookie, so I wanted to bump him up a little bit. At number 12, I have a player that took a fall from grace this season, and that is Nolan Arenan of the St. Louis Cardinals. He isn't necessarily the great defender he once was, only having a 1 DRS, but he still hit 26 bombs, 71 RBIs, and a 774 OPS, all while finishing with a 2.4 WAR. Yes, this was aggressive based off where he has been in the past, but I don't think that the guy with a 774 OPS and a 1 DRS shouldn't necessarily be put up much higher, especially above some of the guys on this list. But I still wanted to push him up a little bit above some of these other guys that I just think outright he's been better than in years prior. At number 11, I have a player who is currently a free agent, started the year on fire last season, but finished off about where we normally expect him, and that is Matt Chapman, formerly of the Toronto Blue Jays. He finished the year with a 4.4 WAR, 12 DRS. We all know how great he is defensively. 17 bombs, 54 RBIs, and a 755 OPS. The offense is always just going to be slightly above average, all while having a great defensive season. If he can play more like the guy he was in the beginning of the season, we're talking about a completely different player. But Matt Chapman turned out to be exactly what he has been. Good offensively, not great, and an absolutely fantastic defender. Nothing to complain about at that spot. At number 10, you have the absolute verse of that sort of thing. At number 10, we have the absolute verse of that sort of player, and that is Max Muncy of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Finished here with 36 bombs, 105 RBIs, all while having an 808 OPS. Not the greatest in the field, -3 DRS. We know that. A 2.6 WAR. I'm a sucker for offensive numbers. We all know that. But 36 bombs to me speaks volume. At number 9, we have a player who's very similar. Finished the year on fire for Miami, helped them reach the playoffs, and that is Jake Burger. 34 bombs, 80 RBIs, and 828 OPS. Not the greatest defender once again. -4 DRS, but 2.5 WAR. Absolutely phenomenal. And I just think that you have to give this guy the respect he deserves for the season he just had. At number 8, we have a player I'm going to be ultra aggressive with, and that is Royce Lewis of the Minnesota Twins. He's been phenomenal in the very little time that we've seen him. 15 homers, 52 RBIs, and 921 OPS, all while being a plus defender with a 2 DRS and a 2.4 WAR. Reminder, he has not played all that much. Very limited sample size we're seeing of him, and he has been fantastic. I wanted to keep him a little bit down on the list just because there's guys on the list that have proved it for much longer, but Royce Lewis is on the come up if he can just put it over a larger sample size. We all know I love myself some Kieron Hayes. At number 7, it's my boy. 4 WAR, 21 DRS. We know this guy is absolutely fantastic in the field. Finally got his overdue Gold Glove. 15 bombs, 61 RBIs, a 762 OPS. I know it doesn't look like the greatest numbers, but let me tell you, this guy finished the year absolutely on fire on the offensive side. I think that is a much better player to what we could see and what we've kind of been waiting for. I think he could absolutely break out in a big, big way in 2024. Obviously, that remains to be seen, but I'm going to be aggressive. I'm putting my boy at number 7. At number 6 was a player I just simply couldn't keep down any lower, and that is Issac Bradley of the Tampa Bay Rays. Finished here with 31 bombs, 98 RBIs, and 840 OPS, all while being a plus defender at 2 DRS and a 4.2 WAR. It concerns me a little bit just because the Tampa Bay Rays are just randomly phenomenal at making average players just great. I don't understand how, but it just kind of happens. And that's kind of my concern with Issac Bradley because he is just a Deadpool type player. He just pulls everything and just launches a lot of stuff out of the stadium. But he's here at 6 because he put up great numbers and was good defensively. At number 5, I have a guy that's been crushing baseballs for a long time, and that is Rafael Devers, hitting 33 bombs, 100 RBIs, and 851 OPS, all while having -9 DRS. We know he's not the greatest defender. Put him over Brady just because he's been doing it for a long time, and he's not part of the Tampa Bay Rays development, but finished with 3.5 WAR. You can't complain about that. I have him at the number 5 spot. At number 4, I had the San Diego Padres third baseman, Manny Machado. He finished here with 30 homers, 91 RBIs, and a 782 OPS. It wasn't necessarily the year that we saw from him the year prior, where he finished second in MVP voting, but still a great season all around. 4 DRS, above average defensively, above average offensively. We know who he has been in the past, especially whenever he's at his peak, and I have him here at number 4. At number 3, I have Alec Bregman of the Houston Astros. He finished with 25 bombs, 98 RBIs, and 804 OPS, 5 DRS, all while accumulating 4.9 more. Just continues to be absolutely phenomenal for this Astros ball club. Not like the peak performance of offense, not the peak performance of defense, but continues to be great at both of them, and that's going to land him here at the number 3 spot. At number 2, I have Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians, who just continues to be underrated somehow. Nobody talks about him enough, but he had 24 bombs, 80 RBIs, and 831 OPS, all while accumulating 1 DRS, so slightly above average there, with a 5.1 WAR. Absolutely phenomenal. I hear that, I see that, but he just can't be the number 1 guy in my opinion. At number 1, I have Austin Riley of the Atlanta Braves. This makes my 3rd Atlanta Brave ranked at the number 1 spot, but they were phenomenal this year, and individually they were phenomenal as well. Finished with 37 homers, 97 RBIs, and 861 OPS, all while having 9 DRS. I had to double check that one just because of his career. He's not been necessarily the greatest defender, but 9 DRS speaks for itself, and 5.9 WAR to go along with that. So I think in pretty much all regards, he topped everybody, and it was just a great season out of Austin Riley. If you enjoy this sort of content, please be sure to subscribe. Let me know down in the comments. I'm sure you guys have already been feverishly typing. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great Christmas. Have a great day. And I'll see you in the next one.